here. What do you give on it? 25, 50, 75, $100,000. You are listening to the Auction is Action with You in It podcast presented by Call to Auction, where our favorite four-letter word is S-O-L-D. Sold.
Hey there, Dusty.
Hey.
Bobby D here. We are with the Auction is Action with You in It podcast, and we are out here getting some fresh air. We've got a big event here in Colorado tomorrow night, and I figured what better place than now to have a podcast. What do you think?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so Dusty, we've been talking a lot about in the fundraising world, all about fresh ideas or fresh solutions and whatnot, and I couldn't think of a better place to talk about freshness than a place with filled with so much fresh air right now. I know.
It's amazing.
Now I know what they call a Rocky Mountain High. Hey. So you've been doing a little bit of research. What have you come up with?
Oftentimes, thinking of new things, how are, we going to have the most impact, right? And how can we help our groups the most?
Right.
So what are the top 10 things that you think might need a little bit of assistance?
So in the nonprofit world.
Yes, in the nonprofit world. And so things that are affecting nonprofits today, and in no particular order, but donor fatigue.
Okay, I mean, I'm sure that they've felt that before. What else?
We have economic uncertainty.
Who's uncertain with their economic status right now in the nonprofits? Okay, that's two.
Right? Increased competition for donation.
I'm sure you're feeling that, right, people? Yep, they're all shaking their heads. Okay.
Yep. Lack of donor stewardship and follow-up.
I mean, we all can admit to dropping the ball a little bit on that, right? Right? Safe place.
Underutilized technology.
Show hands if we all know how to use AI to its fullest.
Yeah.
No, not me, not you. Yeah. Okay. What else we got?
Changing donor demographics.
Well, yeah, there's that big transference of wealth that's happening.
Huge.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then we have staff burnout and turnover. That doesn't happen, right?
No, not at all. Show of hands that you get enough sleep and get enough pay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no, okay. Yeah.
Poor event strategy.
Ooh, yeah, I see that way too much. It's sad to say.
And weak storytelling and messaging.
Yes. The answer is yes to all of those.
Right.
That these are huge problems that we see in the nonprofit world.
And there's one more. Regulatory changes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's totally something we can control. No, that's not. But you know what they say? You can't control the wind, but you can control the sales. Yeah. Okay. So let's start at the top again.
Yeah,
Let's dive through these, and we're coming at it from a event perspective. Event being a campaign before the event, at the event itself, and then beyond the event. So we're going to let's see if we can solve some of these major nonprofit issues by applying some event strategies to them.
Perfect.
Okay. So
what about donor fatigue?
Donor fatigue. Okay. I mean, show hands. Who likes to go to boring black tie rubber chicken dinner galas where the auctioneer is horrible and all of that?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Nobody wants to go to that anymore. They want to go to something that's fresh. They want to go to something that's new. They want to go see something they've never seen. They want to feel the feels.
Yeah.
So they got to do that, because if you're not doing that, you are going to cause a lot of donor fatigue and a lot of donor burnout, and they're going to be like, peace out. We're going to go find somebody else that will give us the feels.
Yeah, it's something unique and different.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
And that fresh perspective on, and that kind of falls into some of these other ones.
Okay.
So
speaking of fresh perspective, we have this fresh sunset that's happening behind us. Okay, keep going.
Gorgeous. Okay, so economic uncertainty. How can events help with economic uncertainty?
Well, there's not many things. I mean, there are some things in the nonprofit fundraising world that you truly can control.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say yes when the grant writers are whether they're going to write the grants or not. I mean, you can't make somebody click on an email. You can't make people do that. But what you can do is steward these donor relationships that you have. Find new donor relationships and create those stronger corporate relationships, stronger individual philanthropy relationships. And these are things that you can do. And you probably have a huge list to be able to do those. And what better place than an event to gather all of these awesome people and put them in this beautiful philanthropic soup.
Yeah. Show them a good time.
Show them a good time. Show them where their dollars are going. This is the impact that we're having. This is the cause that we're funding, and we need your help. We need you to be a part of this. So right there, you're diversifying your fundraising. And I always tell nonprofits that there's 3 wallets in fundraising. So you've got the individual wallet, like, we give as individuals philanthropy, pure individual philanthropy. You've got your corporate philanthropy, which is huge. That's a bottomless pit of fundraising. And then you also have your corporate marketing dollars, which is sponsorships and corporate partnerships. And those dollars are huge anyways too. So if you can tap in all 3 of those, we ain't got to worry about all that other fundraising. That's just the gravy. But many of our nonprofit clients have that flipped on the other side, where their individual and their corporate giving is not as good. So this is where they can flip the book and they can take control.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Increased competition for donations.
Oh my gosh, I just made a video on this talking about a particular date in the fall where there are 15 events on the same night in the same market. 15. And I'm just like, blew my mind. I'm like, don't these nonprofits talk? Because they're going to be fighting for the same donor pool at that time. And it's like, how did you take your event and stand out and stand above and stand beyond all these other events that are having, these 15 events on this same night? What if you had it the next night or even just the Monday after?
Weekdays?
Yeah. What weekday? What
Why
a
not?
novel idea. Then you
Right?
have zero competition in the marketplace, and you could have as many donors as you want to come to your event. And the ones that have capacity, that's who you want, the 1%. Okay, what else?
Okay. Lack of donor stewardship and follow-up.
Oh, it happens. It happens. So many small shops that are out there that drop the ball and just don't follow up effectively afterwards.
Yeah, I mean,
happens.
and small businesses do the same thing. You know, everybody's doing the
Everybody
same thing,
does.
right?
Yeah,
And there's
yeah,
so
I've
much
been
stuff
guilty
coming
of
at
it.
you.
Yeah. There's so-
It's hard.
Yeah, it's like ADD, and you're like, oh, I have to do all of these things. But if nonprofits are strategic and they plan for that post-event gratitude process, then that's where that stewardship is really going to blossom from. So that is where you got to come at it. In working with strategists like ourselves, we've got some great resources that we give away all the time to people to do exactly that.
Yeah, and that follow-up after the event, you know, how important that can be.
Yes. Okay, what else?
Underutilized technology. Now, we're not in the huge in the technology space.
However,
but-
there are ways that people are using technology in the event space, whether it's production-wise, whether it's fundraising-wise, but it's more into the marketing and it's also into that targeting too, and the messaging that you have. And if you can do that and you can apply these technologies effectively, then your little small shop can be much bigger than it really is.
Yeah, and then we move on to changing donor demographics.
Okay, this is real.
It's big.
This is big. This
Yeah,
is
it's
huge.
real
There's like a $40 trillion transference of wealth that's happening from the generation above us. You know, we got baby boomers, and then now that's coming down into the Gen Xers and the Gen Ys and the Zs and the millennials and all of that. But then now we've got the generation alphas that are growing up, and now those dollars are going to go down there. So there's a legacy of philanthropy that's out there that's got to go someplace.
So now, real quick though, I mean, what are you seeing as far as the trends in the younger donors? Do they want to go to the same style of events
No,
that
they
have been
wanna-
going on for 20, 30 years?
No, they want to be excited. They want to be at something that that's Instagrammable. They can be like, check this out. I was here. I saw this. I want them saying, I was at this one gala or I was at this one event and this happened. And if you can create that and this happened, then that's where you won the game. So you got to figure out what's going to be and this happened.
And if you're one of those 15, then next year you're going to be the one that people are going to.
You're going to be
right?
the number one. That's right. That's how you stand out.
Staff burnout. Don't have any of that, right?
No,
Staff burnout and
nah.
turnover. Never any
Oh
of
my
that
God.
ever happens, right?
So there's a statistic that's out there that a professional fundraising development individual will be with the organization for about 1.8, 2 years. And that's how fast that turnover goes. And that happens because of the burnout. And nobody wants to be burnt out. They don't ever want to have more than they can handle, because then we feel like we're falling behind. We're not resilient. We're not, able to serve at our highest level because we're so burnt out and we're so bogged down within it. So let's get people in the right positions to do the great work that they're doing, and let's pay them enough. But wait, now you're going to start talking about paying people? Well, yeah, this is the fundraising fuel that makes us happen. And that's why when fundraising events are done right, then everybody wins. And then we're not going to have burnout. We're not going to have the development professional attrition that happens all the time. You're able to keep people and value people and pay them their worth and let them do what they're really good at.
Yeah.
That's how we can combat that.
And specifically, I know this is a little self-serving in this one, but how can a fundraising auctioneer, strategist, and a team help in that specific instance?
In that specific instance, so you really get to take a lot of stress. When I say you, like actually you
Right,
or
right.
me,
Yeah.
but we get to help really take a lot of that stress off of the development professionals, event professionals, because we've been there. You know, we do about 100, 150 events a year, coast to coast, and we know what's working, we know what's not working, and we know how to be efficient in the planning process. And we can kind of read the tea leaves and see, what are we missing? You know, this storytelling element needs to be stronger here. This live auction item needs to be stronger here. Your event marketing and messaging needs to be stronger here. Your board members need to be strong no matter what. And once all of that comes together, then that's like what I call the good fundraising sauce, is, and that's where the magic happens. If you can, you know, make the sauce happen, then you're just going to make so many people just happy beyond that. And then that's where that irrational generosity and that irrational philanthropy come through, when that is done right.
Right.
That's where the magic, you know, the magic can appear. But it's until all of these elements that are put in the big cauldron and stirred around, that's where the magic comes from. If you don't put the right ingredients in, you're not going to get the magic out.
For sure.
So I think that is probably the biggest help that a nonprofit development professional, or someone that is in charge of planning the events and the galas and the golf tournaments and the brunches and the lunches and all of that, that's where they can help. And then that's where they can receive that support and receive that information that they just don't know. And that's okay. You can't know everything. We don't know everything.
Yeah.
But we really know a lot about some things.
And let's expand a little bit more on storytelling, because it is something that is a top 10 issue. So obviously we can use that event in order to do some great storytelling.
Oh my God, yes.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, what else?
And then we can use that follow-up. We can use the pre. We can use all of those things. And of course, storytelling through the year, and have it be all simpatico with its, self and just amazing.
Yes.
Right. But let's talk more from the event standpoint, pre, post, and that storytelling. How can we strengthen that up?
Well, at the event, you're going to have, here, ironically, at the top of the mountain, Pikes Peak is like right over here. And at that top of the mountain, you're going to have that peak. And that's the spot. That's where the magic happens. That's going to be your fundraising crescendo. And everything where we're at now, we're building up to that peak. And that messaging and that storytelling helps us to get there. And once we get to that peak, that's where the golden goosebump moment happens. And that's where all the paddles are raised. But it doesn't happen until we start climbing that ladder. Remember in The Price is Right, the little guy that went Anyway, so that's what we're doing. And all of your storytelling needs to be succinct to bring us up to there. You can definitely tease it in your pre-marketing. At the event, you can tease it in the connection hour, the cocktail hour. You can definitely really hit it home in the program. And then once you get to that spot, that's where that philanthropic crescendo is, and that's where the magic happens. So there's storytelling leading into that, not only re-inspires current donors and past donors, but it also really gets new donors excited about this. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that you did this. Yeah. And then now when they know that, they see that, and they're like, okay, I'm a guest, and I've never seen this organization and what they do, but now I see the storytelling, I hear it, I feel it, I want to be a part of this. Yeah. And that's where that magic paddle then goes up in the air, and that's where that transformation from the guest to the donor happens. Oh my gosh, we could talk about this for hours, but right? Look at the sun setting, and it's beautiful.
So there's one more thing.
One more, okay.
The regulatory changes, right? We have no control over that. Nobody has.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, who knows? But how can, what kind of advice would you give for that? Like what?
So again, I'll say it again. You can't control the wind. We've got some wind that's coming up here. You maybe hear that in the microphones. You can't control the wind, but we can adjust the sails. And if you are very grant dependent or very government funding dependent, and it's a scary time. And you got to be asking yourself, it's like, how can I take control of my fundraising? Well, that's where a fundraising event, when focused and strategized correctly, that's where you can create that magical moment to happen. And then from there, now you have an excuse to have conversations with different corporations and different businesses to get that corporate money, get corporate philanthropy and corporate marketing dollars, but then also having conversations with high net worth individuals and tapping into their philanthropy. They give, they want to be a part of it. They want to make an impact with their dollars. They want to leave that legacy through your mission. So by being able to, again, going back to the top of the list, effective stewardship, effective follow-up, this gives you a chance to counteract these uncertain regulatory issues that are happening. And you can do it. You can take control. You can adjust the sails and fly any which way that you want, like a bird and all that fun stuff.
That's awesome.
Wow. Well, Dusty, thanks for coming up here and watching this beautiful sunset and getting this fresh air and sharing some fresh ideas.
Absolutely.
What do you think about the podcast so far?
the podcast is really fun. And I was on the previous podcast that you had as well.
Yes.
That's great resources and tons of information on
Yeah,
there.
yes.
And but this is so much fun, and to be a part of it, and just thank you so much. And thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for doing that research, and thanks for giving us an excuse to come up here and talk about fresh ideas and create some action within the fundraising auction, because auction is action with you in it. Thank you again, everybody, for watching. Bobby D, and we got
Dusty Klink.
All right, thanks again. We'll be back. Like, follow, do all the things. We'll put the link to that resource we had talked about, the post-event follow-up checklist, down below. So make sure you sign up for that and get that. But thank you again for all the work that you're doing. Thank you for all of the impact you are creating in the world, and we would love to help you create more impact, because auction is action with you in it. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.